So good to have your company again, Libra. It's now February 2021, and here's your horoscope. A few important features here, particularly this large cluster of planets in your fifth house of creativity and children, love affairs, with retrograde Mercury there, being supported by the transiting moon. That's the career planet for you. It's getting darker as it moves around here into your finance sector on the 4th of February. So there could be some issues there, especially with these challenging red lines. These are the 90-degree square aspects to this speculative area, because the fifth house is also speculative. And so the placement of Mercury here as a retrograde factor is not so bad. It rules your ninth house of good fortune. But it can make you feel as if your luck has sort of turned around the opposite direction. But I think that's only a temporary measure. Here we see communication is all important as the moon transits this third house around the 7th and the 8th. And then into the domestic sphere, which could be a little intense around the 10th, when the moon makes, well, it does a little rumba here with Pluto on the 10th, before it activates this very important stellium that we're talking about, that celestial traffic jam, which, by the way, is also being impacted by this right angle to Mars and Uranus. Fortunately, in this 8th house of yours, which is the shared resources part of your horoscope, Mars has now moved sufficiently away from Uranus, but it still carries a little bit of the memory of what happened when it was in contact with that planet. So I think that could be still somewhat destabilizing this area. Thank goodness you're using the reappraising skills of retrograde Mercury to systematically go through each and every one of these planetary factors and think through your strategy. You know, they say those who fail to plan to fail. So a lot of planning is important here, especially on the 15th, when the moon passes this idealistic connection with Neptune in your 6th house of work and health matters. Passes through this 7th house of relationships on the 16th, 17th, and then moves out with the progressive Uranus here in your 8th house. You can think a little more outside the box with your money, especially if you've taken loans. You want to consolidate some of those loans. It's not a bad time to talk to your bank manager. Uranus is very sudden. The abrupt nature of that planet might have you on the spur of the moment just ringing up your bank manager or your accountant to sort of talk through some of these issues of finances. Take a look there on the 19th and 20th. We mentioned the moon as a precursor moving through this 6th house, and then Sun entering there on the 19th, getting ready to spend a month here focusing on this workplace idealism that you've got. You've got to bring it down to the worldly level, Libra. Keep it real. That's going to build throughout the month, and you'll see that your idealism will, want you doing things that may not be practical. Venus also moves into this area, so what's nice about this is that this gambling, I call it gambling, combination in your 5th house, this punt-taking aspect, is going to ease a little bit with more of your focus here on this 6th house, especially on the last day or two of the month, where you'll notice here in your 12th house a very bright full moon. This is the low-key part of your horoscope. This is the time out for me area where we notice that you may need to step back and work through some of this stuff here, the 6th house. 12th house and 6th house are also both related to health issues. So some of you may be just sensing that something's not quite right. If you've been overworking or you've been, overreacting in certain circumstances, that tension and that high pressure cooker called life may need to be approached in a completely different way. You'll notice also that Mercury's gone forward in its motion again. So this is a prime opportunity for you to use what you learned through the retrograde motion in the first period of the month to now apply that practically. Go and have a look at the yearly, monthly, weekly and daily readings at astrology.com.au. You can contextualize what I've said today. Subscribe, drop me a message if you want, and perfect time to have your yearly reading if you'd like. I can make that happen for you. I do look forward to your company again next month. Take care. Bye-bye.